Good morning, it's Rebecca from Rebecca Inc. Today we are going to draw this kangaroo. What you need to gather up to join in is you need a piece of paper, a pencil, a marker, and an eraser, or the back of a pencil eraser. Any kind of eraser will do. Alright, gather up your supplies, put me on pause, gather up your supplies, come right back, and we'll get started. All right, we are going to start in kind of the center of our page with an oval right about here, kind of a little bit bigger than a hard-boiled egg, we'll say. So what you're going to do is use your pencil. I'm using a marker so you can see me better. I'm getting all ahead of myself today. We're going to go in a nice oval right here in our paper. Round and round you go to get your oval shape. You are using your whole arm from your shoulder to arrive at this shape. If you've never drawn with me before, you'll find the very beginning of our drawing is a little messy. We go round and round to get our shapes, and in the long run, that will help us create that shape. Looks messy, but it works. So be patient with yourself. If it stresses you out, take a deep breath and just kind of trust the system, I guess. Okay, next up, at the back of that oval, we're going to draw another oval. It's going to share this back edge and then come in. So go ahead and start along that back edge and then cut in right about there. So a little over halfway into your bigger oval. All right, so this is going to be the body of our kangaroo. Let's go up from there and add in our neck. Our kangaroo is jumping, so he's kind of angled up. And our neck is going to end up being kind of a rectangular shape that comes off of that very first oval that we drew. To get this shape, for the long sides, I'm kind of planting my elbow and just moving my forearm back and forth and back and forth. And to get the edges, planting my wrist and just moving my fingers to get that. Now we need a connecting triangle here. Now this shape, we're going to have an arc just ever so slightly. So move your hand, plant your wrist, and just arc in a little triangular shape. So if you wanted to see the triangle, here it is, and that gives us that shape. All right, next up we're going to add in the head. We need a circle that's about the size of a quarter. It's going to live right at the edge of that rectangle that we just drew. And it's going to be about this big. Get your whole arm going. See how mine is messy and it's not perfect? In the long run, we will pick our favorite line on there, and that's the one that we will trace over with our marker. So let it be messy. It's okay. All right, at the top of that, we're going to add an oval for the ear. Now this ear is facing toward us, so inside it we're going to add a little arc, just like that. That's going to let us know that's where he's hearing from. Now on the other side of the head, imagine this is like a ball. On the other side of that head, we're going to have a circle here and a little circle up here to be the other ear, and then we're going to connect those with some little arcs. One there and one there. So imagine that is going to live on the other side of that circle. I'm adding in that line just to kind of give you that idea. Okay, next up we need their little mouths. Off of the front of that face circle, we are going to add two ovals. They're going to be angled down, and one's going to be about this big. These are smaller shapes, so for this one I'm kind of planting my elbow and just using my forearm to get that shape. You could just use your hand if you wanted to, but I found myself using a little bit more. And then below that, just a little bit smaller and definitely skinnier, we're going to add in another oval. This will be like our little jaw, the bottom part. Now the reason I do that in two ovals instead of like one big oval is that first oval, that curve will help us get that mouth shape correct. All right, next up, we need a pretty strong triangular connector there, connecting triangle. It's going to come down off of that head circle to that mouth, headed toward the mouth. And then at the end of that, if you were to just keep going, we're going to add in a little arc that's going to be the nose. inside that arc, go ahead and draw a little oval. I'm making mine this direction. I'm going to blow it up over here so you can see it. That will be a little highlight. All right, now we need an eye. Their eyes, their pocket for their eye is pretty large, so we're going to draw a circle that's going to go all the way back and come up above that head and go all the way back to that ear oval. It's pretty big. Now this part, a lot of it has fur on it, but then there's just a little bit that you see that is their eye. That's going to be up toward the front of that. So we're going to draw another circle. Then we're going to take that circle and add in a triangle. It's going to kind of slice off the top part and maybe go close to the bottom edge of that circle. That's going to be their eyelids. Now we can add in a little highlight there. Go ahead and add in a little circle on that eye for a highlight. All right, that will all make sense when we go over it with our marker. It looks a little crazy right now. All right, let's go back in. We're going to add in the legs and the tail. Now this little guy is hopping. You can definitely see his front leg very clearly, but his back leg is kind of hidden behind his front leg just ever so slightly. So we're going to see mostly just the front leg. So up toward the front of this body oval, we're going to add a little oval right here. It's not very big. Maybe right here. And off of that oval, off the back end, we're going to add in a little rectangle. It's kind of skinny. Their legs are pretty skinny. Very strong, but pretty skinny. And off of the base of that rectangle, we are going to add in an oval. Kind of pointed back, like he just pushed off the ground. All right, now to get that next leg, we're going to do the exact shapes that we're just going to kind of mimic. So we've got this line coming down and this arc for that oval. So just draw a line just ever so slightly set apart from that and kind of mimic those shapes. And when you get down here, we're just going to kind of arc it up. So that will be the back leg. So it's almost like a J. We drew like a J there. Now on the ends of those, these are their little feet, we're going to add in a shape, it's just going to be a circle with an arc, but it almost looks like a 6. So if you felt more comfortable, you could draw the number 6. You see it there? It's upside down, the number 6. So you've got like your circle with your arc coming off. They have these very strong claws, for lack of a better word. I don't know if that's exactly what they're called on a kangaroo, but that's what they look like. And then on this front leg, we're going to add 3 of those. 1, just kind of going around that little oval there, just like that. Very good. All right, on to the back leg. Now this oval is going to act as our hip. So now we need to draw from the hip down to the knee with a rectangle. So we're going to go up along that oval and come down as a rectangle. I'm going to cut over at an angle and go right back up. There's that full rectangle. We'll only see just a little bit of that. Now we need a connecting triangle to connect that back to the body. So we're just going to add in a little connecting triangle there. See that triangle? It's right there if you're needing to find it. All right, now we're going to add another rectangle with an oval, kind of like we have here. It's going to point forward this time. So we had one going back, one going forward. Their knees bend that way. All right, and then on the base of that, we're going to add in an oval. The key for the oval is you want to make sure they can line up with that rectangle. If they don't, just add in a little connecting triangle there. It's a nice smooth line coming down. At the very end of that oval, we're going to add in our little 6, which will be their claw. If you need, rotate your paper and just write a 6. That would work. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing we did with this back leg. We're going to do over here. So we're just going to draw a little mimicking line in front of that rectangle and a mimicking line in front of that rectangle and down just a little bit, like a J. Arc it in. So there's our long J there. And at the base of that, add in your little 6. Very good. All right, last little bit. We're going to add 5 little ovals to get our tail. Now, the ovals are going to live off of the back of that body. We're going to start and have them kind of share that back end. 1 oval oval there. We're just going to kind of stack them as we go down. If you end up with the shape, like if your ovals are a little bit longer than mine and you're able to do it in 4 ovals, that's great. The ovals go down and then they curve back up. The tip of their tail is a little thicker than most animals. It seems like their tails get super skinny at the end and maybe pointy, but their tails are pretty thick at the end. So we're going to end with one it doesn't get too skinny as it goes down, is I guess what I'm trying to say. Now in between each of these ovals, we're just going to connect them with a little connecting triangle on the top and along the bottom, just like that, just a little connector, because we want this to read as one smooth, solid line. Now I'm showing you just one way to draw that. If you wanted to, you could draw an oval here and then just draw along one side of it and do like a mimicking line. You could do it that way if you wanted to, or you could do 2 ovals to help you get that shape. I choose to do it this way because that way we get the thickness exactly what we wanted it to be. Okay, now let's add in a few details before we start switching over to our marker. This is going to be our hip right here. So we're going to just darken this line just a little bit to make sure we understand where that's going to go. Along that oval and a little bit down that rectangle. And then at the very tip, we're going to add, of that line that we just darkened, we're going to add just a little diagonal line. Creates kind of like a Y shape there. And we're going to do the same thing along this front arm. We're going to add just a little straight line off the back of that oval. Just kind of back and forth right over the edge of that oval. And then add in that little angled line to give us kind of a Y shaped. And then we need one more little shadow on this back leg. We're going to add in a little connecting triangle that goes right there. It kind of almost comes straight down to that base of that oval. Oh, and we need some connecting triangles here. Oh, where the tail connects to the body, we need a bigger connecting triangle right there. Okay, I think I've got it all. Sometimes I get talking and I lose track of what I've said. So if we need to add it, we'll do it as we go along. Switch over to your marker and we will start up along this front ear. We're going to draw around almost all of it, 3/4 of the way around. So head into the head there, go up and around that ear and down and cut into the head again. Then we're going to draw over that whole arc that we drew. Now we're going to go over a little bit of this circle onto that rectangle and then that arced connecting triangle. Go ahead and do that part. Circle, rectangle, connecting triangle. Now from here, we're going to go all the way around this body, this oval, and down along the tail to the very end and kind of wrap around. If it helps you to move your paper, change the angle a little bit, feel free to do that. I would definitely be doing that. Now, as I'm talking, my line got a little bit off there. I'm not going to worry about it. If that happens to you, not a big deal because it'll just change the thickness of your tail. That's fine. Maybe your kangaroo has a little thicker tail there. I always like to say, because I've drawn with people before and they always say, oh, I ruined it, or oh, it's not perfect, I hate it. And I feel that way quite often when I'm drawing, but no one knows what you were intending to do, so no one else is going to feel that way about it. So just let it be, and it'll be okay. Okay, take a deep breath. All right, now onto the head. We're going to go around that circle. Now where they have this eye, we're going to go around that bigger circle and then stop there. Let's do our triangular lines that we have here. We're going to draw those, kind of cut in there, just like that, and draw the bottom one, just like that. Off the top of that, I'm going to just add in a couple little eyelashes for some fun. You can do that. That's just a simple little touch and flick. Now we're going to do that inside part where we have that, almost looks like a little slice of pizza there. Draw around your highlight and fill the rest in dark, nice and dark. Now we're going to continue around this eye circle because this is a really strong shape in their skeletal structure. You see this, I don't know if they have bones there or if that's just the shape of their eye is prominent, but we're going to draw around there. Then we're going to go back up to the front and go down that triangle onto that oval. And where they connect, we're going to come in just a little bit and give it a little smile, just like that. If you want to bring it in a little bit more and up, you can do that. I think I did that in my guide. It kind of makes it look really happy. Now back into that nose, we're going to fill in everything but that little oval we drew for the highlight. Now let's go back up here toward this eye in this triangle. We're going to add in just a tiny bit of shading with just some back and forth motions, just like that. I didn't want to draw a full-on triangular shape there. I wanted the bottom of it to be more of an organic shape, so doing that, it'll give you that idea. Okay, next up, around the bottom jaw, so around the base of that oval, and then you're going to stop when you get to that circle. Now we are going to hop on to this circle and then go down the neck up to that arm. Their faces, I was thinking that when I was picturing how I was going to teach this, I was thinking that we'd have all kinds of connecting triangles here, but they actually have really sharp little jaws that connect right there, and it's a really nice circular shape. So I was kind of surprised by that. We're going to go down the neck onto that body oval and stop. Now let's draw this arm. We're going to draw the front one first and then the back one. We're going to go up here where we had that first oval. We're going to draw along that diagonal line that we had, be like from his armpit to his elbow. Then we're going to draw along the outside of that shape, elbow to wrist. Now we're going to go all the way around that little foot, all the way around like that. Let's go back up here. We're going to go a little bit around the top part of that oval that would be like his shoulder and down. So you can see a little bit of that angle there. Now we're going to go down and connect. So you just see this shape here. Now for these little claws, they are very, very dark. So we're just going to fill in our little circles and add our arcs. Just like that. Fill in the parts that you see. Now for the back leg, we're going to trace around that J and then do our circles. Just like that. Do your little 6 on the end. Very good. All right, back leg. We are not going to see a lot of this oval that we drew, but we are going to see the part that we darkened in. So we're going to go like around where we have that darker area, around that, and then hop on that rectangle and come down. So we're kind of pushing that back leg back when we do that. Down you go. Try to do it in one solid, smooth motion. If you can't, that's okay. Let's add in our little Y at the top. And I don't know if I did that on the front leg, but if I didn't, add that in too. You want to trace over that as well. Okay, now let's fill in the little belly. It's going to connect all the way back like that. All the way to that line we just drew. It connects all the way to it. Now we can do the rest of this leg. So we came down like to the knee. Now we're going knee to ankle. I always compare things to human bodies, so I don't know if that's the right terms or not, so don't quote me on those. All right, back up to the body. We're going to do connecting triangle and then follow that line down and around the one we just drew. Connecting triangle, onto the rectangle, down the rectangle, around the oval, and stop. Now let's do our back leg. Because we had the tummy connect all the way over, that helps push that over to the other side of the body and add in that little mimicking line there. And go ahead and add in your claws, just like that. Very, very strong back legs. Okay, now we're going to go a little bit around that oval, onto our connecting triangle, and around the rest of the tail. I'm kind of moving my hand as I go. You do the same. I would rotate my paper if I didn't have the camera above me, so feel free to do that. But if at any point you're drawing and your hand feels uncomfortable, move it. It shouldn't feel uncomfortable. Okay, now let's add in a few of these shadows that we had. We had one right here coming down that also helps put that leg on the other side. Now on my guide, I filled in the back legs black. I'm not going to do that. I think it looks cooler without it, but if you wanted to, that's something else you could do. Let's go back up to the face and add in just a few little dots right above our eyelash there, our eyelid, just for a fun little detail. And now we are ready to erase. You just drew a really cool kangaroo. If you wanted to, you could give a hint of the ground below. I did that on my guide. I just kind of planted my wrist and just drew like a little arc that came down. You're welcome to do that, or you can leave it just like you had it. I'm gonna switch back to my guide and erase right along with you. So we are ready to erase. Grab your eraser, look for a little clean spot on it, steady your paper with your non-drawing hand, and go ahead and start erasing. You're going to want to move this hand with you as you go so you don't crinkle your paper. I want to invite you guys tomorrow with the Ohio History Connection. There is a really cool event called the Storybook Village. It's wonderful to support these organizations, especially now during this time as they're trying to reopen and find ways to keep these programs going and keep your family safe at the same time during this pandemic. We're all in together here. They are having this really neat virtual event, Storybook Village. All kinds of amazing activities going on there. So look up Ohio History Connection. I'm going to be doing a drawing of an ironwood wolf. So you could do that along with me tomorrow, and so many other really neat activities. So if you're looking for some family fun and a nice way to support your community, that is a great one. Our museums need our attention and support so that they can stay there and be there for you. Okay, so check that out, Ohio History Connection. I'll be doing an ironwood wolf around noon, so check that out. And send me your drawings. I will have them on my website, RebeccaInc.com, under the Interact tab. You can find Rebecca Inc. on Facebook, on YouTube, on Spoonflower for fabrics, on Instagram if you have somebody that wants to draw and they don't have Facebook. Thanks for drawing with me. Let me know what you want to draw. Stay healthy, stay safe, and be positive, and be kind.